Thanks for listening to the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Berry, here to help educate, motivate, and put you on the right path to take control of your health through weekly discussions on topics in the medical field, public health arena, and in your community. And now your host, Dr. Berry.
And welcome to another episode of the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Berry. I'm your host, Dr. Berry Pierre, your favorite board-certified internist, founder of drbarrypierre.com, as well as the CEO of Pierre Medical Consulting, helping you empower yourself for better health with the number one podcast of patient advocacy, affirmation, and education. This is part 2 of the episode block. If you caught part 1 or episode 138, I was kind of going through the brand story, right? I was talking about, why are we empowering ourselves for better health, right? And what really got me started on this amazing journey that really has only gone about 3 years now, I would give or take, right, where I really kind of took off, even though it kind of started when I was a medical student. But as far as the trajectory and kind of seeing the amount of growth that's happened, it's really been about a 3-year stretch where we've seen so much amazing things happen. And part 2, which is today's episode, is really going to talk about okay, you know what? I finally believe Dr. Berry. I'm finally ready to try something new. I'm ready to try something better. I'm not trying to try something better, right? Better is not good, right? Because better means that the old way kind of works, but you just need a little tweak. No, Dr. Berry, myself, I'm saying that I need you to try something completely different, right? And that's why this episode is going to be so very important for you, right? Because I'm going to be talking about some of the services and the products and the things we plan on offering for you guys to help you empower yourself with better health. Like always, if you have not had a chance, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you leave those comments, amazing comments that say, hey, you're absolutely amazing, right? Especially for my Apple Podcast users. Go ahead, give us a shout out. For my YouTube users, go ahead and drop the comments. Let us know exactly how we're doing here on the podcast. So like always, get ready for another amazing episode with yours truly, Dr. Berry, here on the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Berry. One of the sponsors for the Lunch and Learn Community Podcast is the Lunch and Learn Community Store, where you can find t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, stickers, and wristbands with the motto, empower yourself for better health. Remember, 50% of all proceeds will go to the 5-Star Scholarship Foundation, where we give out college scholarships to deserving high school seniors across the country. Thus far, we have given out over 20 deserving scholarships to students across the country. So again, 50% of the proceeds will be blessed to the 5-Star Scholarship Foundation. And today you can get the coupon code LUNCH20, and you get 20% off your purchase, and you support these high school students across the country. Again, the Lunch and Learn Community Store is at shop.drbarrypierre.com, and the coupon code is LUNCH20. Hey, what's going on, guys? Dr. Berry here. So we're bringing you episode 139, part 2 of a 2-part episode that came down in the same week. But I feel like if we were going to start season 4 off correctly, I wanted to make sure I started off on the right foot. So in part 1, if you have not listened to part 1 yet, please go back, press pause, go listen to episode 138, because it's difficult. It's going to be kind of difficult to get the grasp of this episode if you don't know the origin, right? And in part 1, episode 138, that was essentially kind of the origin story of yours truly, Dr. Berry. And this part is really saying okay, we've got the origin story. Hey, Dr. Berry, we believe you. We're ready to kind of go forward and make some moves to empower ourselves for better health. So how are we going to do that? First and foremost, I want to kind of say, everyone, shout out to you guys, right? If you gotten this far, if you're on season 4, if you're just a new listener, right, you are ready to make the next leap, right? For your health, for your parents' health, for your family health, you're ready to take that next level, right? And I am here as a internist, board certified program director, father of 3, husband. I'm ready to kind of help you get to that next level to make sure that you can live a long, healthy, and prosperous life. So what does empower yourself for better health mean, and how is Dr. Berry going to do it, right? So I like to call this kind of a tier-wide system, right? So this is my tiered system of how I'm going to help you get from point A to point Z, right? And everyone who kind of comes into the world of Dr. Berry, whether it be through the blogging, whether it be through the podcasting of the videos on YouTube, however you came into this world, you're here, right? And you want to make sure you take yourself to the next level, and I'm here to help you do that. So I want to first start off kind of in the groundwork, right? Like, so how do I get into the world of the Lunch and Learn community, right? Because that's who I call all of my members who are ready to make it to the next level. Because that's really where it started at, right? It started in the afternoons when I was giving those lunch lessons, and I just wanted to help more than the person who was standing in front of me, right? So this is why I call everyone who listens to me in my Lunch and Learn community, right? So whether you're listening to this at dinner time, at breakfast, you are in my Lunch and Learn community, just for all intents and purposes. So as we go on, as we start the process, we say, Dr. Berry, how do we do this? So my first, I would say my first layer of offerings include the podcast, include the blogging, include the videos, include some of the free webinars, right? Because that's where that entry level of education first begins, right? That's when you first get introduced to me on a worldwide scale, right? Like I said, if you happen to be my patient, of course, you see me on a one-on-one basis. But if you're out in the world, whether you're in a different state, a different country, you're introducing yourself likely through one of these engines, right? So that's, again, why I do the blogging, why I do the podcasting, why I do the videos, because I want to do something to make sure to kind of grasp your attention, right? And once I do that, right, like how do I help move you up this ladder of success, right? That's when I offer some of my membership groups, right? So things to come in the future is we're going to have specified membership groups for those who are ready to kind of take themselves to the next level, as well as a lot of digital information that you guys have been kind of getting periodically that I've included with some of the blogs, with some of the podcasting, right? We're going to be giving a lot more products away with that. I'll also think of this second level, right? Again, the first level was kind of the blogging, the videos on YouTube, the podcast that you're listening to, right? Or maybe watching, depending if you're one of my YouTube listeners. And then this next level is kind of the promotion, right? This is when you're saying like, hey, I'm ready to do this. But again, I talk about it on affirmation. When you say you're ready to do this, saying it to yourself really doesn't mean very much. Like you have to be ready to kind of yell out into the world, right? So that's where, again, we're going to be providing, again, if you're my YouTube watcher, watching this right now, again, I have these amazing t-shirts, right? So I'm going to have amazing t-shirts and products, right, for you to kind of display to the world that you are ready to empower yourself for better health. I'm going to be providing the digital information, PDFs, checklists, things to help to kind of get you to that next level so you don't feel stuck, so you don't feel lost in this amazing but crazy world that is healthcare. Membership sites are coming, right? So we're going to be, membership groups are coming, right? So we're going to be having a lot of different aspects of groups depending on, the level of, I guess, accountability that you want, right? So we're going to have different levels of membership groups just for people who are ready to take that next level, right? And they're ready to do it in a group fashion, right? Because again, it's so easy, right, to say, I'm going to get healthy, right? I'm going to lose all this weight, or I'm going to, gain all this muscle. But it's easy for only ourselves to be accountable. But once we have to be accountable for a group of 5, for a group of 10, for a group of even 30, depending on how big we plan on letting the groups, that's when it becomes a different level of responsibility, right? And that's when you kind of separate yourself from those who want to do it and those who keep talking about wanting to do it. Because like I said, this is a life. I say this before. This is a life or death situation, right? Getting yourself healthy, empowering yourself for better health is going to be a life or death situation, right? We do not have the opportunity, right, of time, right? We can't, no one, regardless of how rich you are, right? Remember Steve Jobs, one of the richest man, billionaire, and he could not buy more time. So his money did absolutely nothing for him when his health became the number one priority, right? So I want you guys to prepare yourself, right, to make sure we never have to get to that point where we're having to worry about our health being thrust into the number one priority because we put it off to the backside, right? So that's going to be my level tier, right? Level tier, membership groups, the books, right? The books, the t-shirts, all of those kind of things there will be kind of in my level 2 members of my Lunch and Learn community. Now, so how do you get to level 3? Or how do you get to become a level 3 Lunch and Learn community member, right? So that's when we talk about some of the courses. Again, we're going to be in the first level or so, we're going to have kind of courses that, that may be kind of one-off courses. Like for those who may have listened, I know a lot of you have took the course, How to Choose the Right Doctor, right? Those are one of those courses that I may just do that again, are going to be free to give away for you to kind of do at your own leisure, right? But once we start having to get really finite and detailed with our education, with our learning, we are going to be offering premium level courses for our Lunch and Learn community members. And so that's what's going to put you at the level 3 member of the Lunch and Learn community, right? When you're kind of ingesting into level 3 learning and technology and accountability and education, usually, especially with my level 3 course learners, again, you're going to be getting a lot of group discussions with me. Again, in part 2, you're going to have a lot of group discussions amongst others, right? But that's when I'm going to really be more involved, and I'm going to make sure I have experts more involved as well too. Like, let's say I was having a premium course on hypertension, elevated blood pressure, right? I may have a cardiologist come in and do kind of monthly sessions, right? I may have, a dietitian. Again, there's a lot of different things that we can do with the premium level courses that we can't particularly do with the free courses, right? So that's something to definitely think about. Of course, if you're ready to get kind of one-on-one consulting, right, that's going to be important as well too, right? So we plan on doing one-on-one consulting, which we kind of already do for some members who have asked me already. But we're going to have one-on-one. We're going to have group session related consulting as well too. So we're going to be consulting in groups, consulting one-on-one. That's going to be my level 3 members of support here for the Lunch and Learn community. Now, level 4, right? What does a level 4 community member do, right? That's when I plan on providing things like live events, right? So again, do not be shocked, right, when you hear that we're having a Lunch and Learn symposium, right, in your local area or market, right? Of course, I'm in South Florida, so the likely first one will be in my hometown, right? So I can kind of get the gist of doing these live events, as well as you're going to see me doing more speaking events, sponsorships as well too. So you're going to see a lot of sponsorship related activities kind of go along with some of these activities, like the speaking events, like the live events, and all of those things kind of under that sun as well too. So level 4 Lunch and Learn community members, once we get to that level and that tier, and as you can see, right, obviously when I talk about live events, I'm talking about speaking engagements, that's more me giving more expert one-on-one or one-to-many kind of education, right? Again, that doesn't mean that you particularly will have to spend more. That's just the level of where you would be at, right? Like if you're at the point where you're going to watch me speak, if you're going to one of my live events, right? That's how you can kind of dub yourself as, hey, I'm a level 4 member, right? Because level 1 members may not get all the way to level 4, and that's okay. That's 100% understandable. Again, for those who may not know, I do business consulting on the side as well. And when I'm consulting with, professionals, especially a lot of doctors, right? When I'm consulting with them and I'm letting them know, like, hey, you have to have these kind of tiered systems for your community that you're serving, understanding that those who in level 1 may not get up to level 4, and that's okay. They may not need to get up to level 4, right? They may be okay with level 2 or level 3, but you're going to have some people who are going to need level 1, right? They're going to need the webinars. They're going to need the books, the blogs. They're going to need, the videos. They're also going to need, the books, the t-shirts. They're also going to need one-on-one consulting. And then they're also going to need to see you live, right? And that's okay. I think that's a level of interpersonal relationship that you have to have with yourself, kind of knowing where you fit in all of those things there, right? So think about that when we're talking about kind of some of these higher tiers. And then last but not least, right, and this is like the 5th tier, and it probably can go on infinity, right? But like you always, especially as my business folks, you always want to kind of like say, hey, like let me make sure I hone in on this message, right? So my level 5 members of the Lunch and Learn community, right, that's when we're starting talking about becoming, mastering yourself, mastering your family, right? And becoming empowerment coaches, right? I've talked about this before. We have a lot of people who proclaim to be health coaches, right? Who really have no formal level of teaching, right? Or their teaching isn't as standardized as it should be. So once you get to the point when we're a level 5 type member in the Lunch and Learn community, right? You may want to say like, hey, Dr. Berry, like I've gotten so much value through all of these, your levels of teaching. Like I want more. Like I think I need more to make sure I can take your learning, take your teachings, and then, give it out to my community and serve them, right? And we're 100% happy for that. So that's where that level comes. Again, like I said, people who are on level 1 may never need to get to level 5, right? And that's okay, right? But making sure that we have these options to provide for those who want to get to level 5, that's really my goal. That's really where we're headed. And that's what we're so excited about here on the Lunch Learning community and, the podcast, especially with Peer Medical Consulting. We are excited to help bring you to that new you, because we understand the old way does not work. The old way is killing people. The old way is allowing diseases that should be prevented to become menaces. Again, I just took care of a patient in a hospital who is getting his foot cut off, right? Because he's a diabetic. And not only is he diabetic, he's a smoker. And not only is he a smoker, he has high cholesterol. So he has all of these risk factors that if someone could have talked to him 15 years ago, 10 years ago, say, hey, you know what? If you just stop smoking cigarettes, if you work on your diet, if you just take some of these medications, or however you get to that point, I won't have to, Dr. Berry's not going to have this conversation about taking your foot off, right? But unfortunately, now we got to take his foot off, right? And that's what I want to prevent, right? Again, if you listen to episode 138, I talked about how my dad passed away from complications of heart disease because he really wasn't taking medications because no one really stressed him that he should take his medications. That's not going to be you. Right, you're going to know that you need to take your medications because we're not going to allow you not to take your medications, right? So that is it. Like I said, it is, I know it's a handful. I know that seemed like a lot, especially if those who may be like driving or, in the car and you may not have gotten a chance to write it down. I'm going to provide a PDF for this episode. It's going to be at drbarrypierre.com/LLP139 download, right? You go to that /LLP139 download. You're going to get a PDF of this, the values of the levels for those in the Lunch Learning community to help get you to the next level, right? So again, thank you guys for everything. Again, I'm so amazed, right, that we're able to start season 4. Again, I didn't know I would get to season 4, but we are here. All right, next week I have an amazing episode for you. Remember, we do the podcast now Mondays. Now it goes from, instead of Wednesdays, it's every Monday. So in 3 days, especially if you're my diehard listeners, right, or my YouTube watchers who watch this on the first day, this episode comes out, right, because this episode is coming out on a Friday, right? Like, so on Monday, in about 3 days, we got a new episode. It's gonna be phenomenal. It's talking about, again, diabetes. Hint, hint. Yeah, I did a little foreshadowing with that story, right? We're talking about diabetes. We're talking about how to master diabetes, right? So you better not leave here. Again, all the old subscribers, thank you. All the new subscribers, thank you. It is yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, host of the Lunch Learn with Dr. Barry. I'm going to see you guys next week.
Thank you for getting to the end of the show. I am your host, Dr. Barry Pierre, host of the Lunch Learn with Dr. Barry, and this is another amazing episode that we like to bring to you week after week on betterment of empowering yourself for better health today. If you have not had a chance, please go ahead and subscribe to the show. If this is your first time listening, if you already listen and you've already subscribed, make sure to leave me a 5-star review because your support is absolutely important in keeping the show moving as it is. And if you have not had a chance and you want to check out today's show notes, always head over to lunchlearnpod.com. That is lunchlearnpod, all in one word, .com, and you can get the access to my show notes for every single episode, but especially the one you just listened to. And I'm going to see you guys next week. You guys be blessed. Bye.